Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, the show where we dive into holistic health topics and pretend we're more graceful than we actually are. I'm Ethan, your reliably confused tour guide through all things natural health.
And I'm Alara, who is not so confused, but I still manage to trip over my own feet occasionally. That's my secret. I walk into walls, but only when no one's watching. It keeps me humble. Let's talk about vertigo. That spinning sensation that sends you tumbling into walls even when you haven't had a drop of champagne.
Vertigo often gets lumped in with regular dizziness, but apparently it's its own special brand of mischief. It's not just feeling faint, it's the sensation that the room has turned into a carnival ride.
Precisely. According to many holistic practitioners, vertigo is often linked to issues in the inner ear or the brain. Those are the important balance players in your body. If one of them starts acting out, you might find yourself spinning around like a top.
For clarity, let's run down some possible causes. First up, those tiny ear crystals. And no, I am not referring to mystical crystals that help align your chakras. Though that's an intriguing thought. We're talking actual microscopic crystals in your inner ear that keep you balanced. If they get dislodged, you get a carnival ride in your skull.
It's called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, or BPPV, for those who can pronounce acronyms more easily than medical terms. When these little guys escape their designated area, they go rolling around your inner ear canals, telling your brain that you're spinning even if you're standing still. It's like your body's version of fake news. Your ear is insisting you've just hopped off a tilt-a-whirl.
And the result? You're leaning on every available surface, checking to see if it's you or the walls doing the moving. People might assume you're just practicing some kind of interpretive dance in public.
Of course, BPPV is not the only troublemaker. Inner ear infections can sabotage your sense of balance too. Your inner ear is like a finely tuned scale. When fluid builds up in that area, you can start feeling like you're on a fishing boat during a storm. Migraines can be culprits as well, occasionally bringing vertigo along for the ride. And let's not forget medication side effects. Some prescriptions, ironically, might spin you right round, baby, right round.
Before we send everyone scuttling for the nearest MRI machine, let's remember that most vertigo episodes are not life-threatening. They're just unbelievably annoying. Rarely it could signal a more serious problem, but generally you're dealing with these rogue ear crystals, an infection, or something less ominous.
Right. And how does one figure out that it's really vertigo and not just a dramatic reaction to your cousin's karaoke performance?
Enter the Dix Hall-Pike maneuver. This is where a health provider gently tilts your head back at a peculiar angle to see if you start experiencing the spins. It's a neat trick. If you look at the ceiling and suddenly the walls are swirling in a dance party, that's a strong clue. Your inner ear crystals are on walkabout.
Once they confirm, yes, it's BPPV, or yes, your inner ear is misbehaving, the next question is, what do you do about it? Let's talk about some mainstream approaches first, because apparently, the cure for a spinning room is not to just close your eyes and pray.
Darn, that was my best plan. But in all seriousness, physical therapy, specifically vestibular rehabilitation, can help retrain your brain to deal with the misinformation from your inner ear. It's like going to couples counseling for your ears and your brain. All right, guys, you need to communicate better. Let's practice these exercises until we can stand up without hugging the furniture.
And that's exactly how you describe it to your therapist, of course. Vestibular rehab is especially helpful for older folks. But I think any adult who feels like the floor is dancing beneath them could benefit. It's often about repetitive head movements, tracking exercises, and teaching your body how to compensate when your ear is throwing a tantrum.
Another well-known trick is the Epley maneuver, which is not a jazz dance. It's a simple series of head movements that repositions those little crystals back into their rightful chamber. Let me see if I have this right. You start by sitting on the edge of your bed, head turned at a 45-degree angle toward the problem ear.
Yes, then you lie back quickly while keeping that tilt. After about 30 seconds of letting gravity do its thing, you turn your head 90 degrees the other way. Wait another 30 seconds, then roll onto your side, wait, and finally sit up.
And the idea is that these steps coax the crystals to settle where they belong. It's like herding wayward sheep back into the pen. All right, you rascals, back into the corral you go.
The real test is doing it gracefully, without looking like someone just told you the floor was lava. But once you master it, you can do it at home whenever that spin starts creeping up.
Let's talk natural remedies next, because we all love a bit of do-it-yourself. I hear vitamin D can help with BPPV, especially for those who test low. There's some evidence that it reduces the recurrence of vertigo episodes.
Makes sense. Vitamin D has a million jobs in the body, so maybe it's no surprise it also lends a hand with ear crystals. Ginkgo biloba is another interesting herb. Some folks swear it helps with blood flow around the brain and ears, possibly reducing vertigo in certain conditions. And if nothing else, I love saying Ginkgo biloba. Some studies suggest it's beneficial and has minimal side effects. Then there's a simpler approach, lifestyle tweaks. Caffeine and alcohol can mess with your ears, so you might want to skip that double espresso or the nightly wine if you're prone to vertigo. Staying hydrated is vital too, so don't forget your water bottle.
Ginger is known to help with nausea, so if your vertigo makes you queasy, ginger tea might be your new best friend. That, or lying still and praying, but ginger is probably more effective.
Sleep is huge as well. When you're running on fumes, your balance system is extra sensitive. Stress also ratchets everything up, including vertigo episodes. So if you're living in a never-ending anxiety dream, it might make your ear crystals even more restless.
For quick relief of the nausea that sometimes hits, there's an acupressure point on the inside of your wrist. That's the same spot those anti-nausea wristbands press on. You can simply use your thumb to apply gentle pressure for a few seconds. Think of it as your body's override button. Calm down, stomach. We got this.
And while vertigo typically isn't an emergency, there are those rare times it could be a warning sign, like if it comes with slurred speech, severe headache, or sudden weakness. That's when you'd want to seek immediate help. Otherwise, you can usually handle it with some mindful strategies.
Let's also clarify the difference between vertigo and dizziness, because I once told a friend, I'm feeling vertigo, and they said, just sit down and have a cookie. Dizziness is a vague lightheadedness. Vertigo is a distinct spinning. So if your cookie starts to orbit around your coffee cup, that's vertigo.
Another question is how long it lasts. Some episodes are over in seconds, others linger for days. BPPV often hits you in short bursts, especially when you move your head in a certain direction, while an inner ear infection might hang around, making you question if you're living inside a kaleidoscope.
So, what's our big takeaway here for folks who occasionally feel the floor dropping out from under them?
The bottom line is, vertigo can be managed. You can nudge those crystals back, reduce stress, boost your vitamin D, try Ginkgo biloba, do targeted exercises, and pivot your lifestyle so that your ears don't think you're on a perpetual roller coaster. It's a matter of treating the source. If that source is BPPV, get reacquainted with the Epley maneuver. If it's an ear infection, address that underlying cause. If it's migraines, then your solution might focus on migraine management.
It's comforting to know there's a variety of strategies, rather than a single magical fix that we all must track down in a hidden temple. I like that we can experiment and find what works best for our specific cause of vertigo.
Absolutely. Everyone's got their own puzzle pieces. If you suspect BPPV, you can try an at-home Epley maneuver. If you're uncertain, a healthcare provider can confirm it with that Dix-Hall pipe trick. It sounds fancy, but really it's them gently flipping you back on an exam table and seeing if your eyes start twitching from the spins.
Another interesting aspect is how important gentle movement can be. Even if you feel like you have to stay perfectly still to avoid spinning, sometimes the best thing is to do controlled movements that help your body relearn balance. That's the logic behind vestibular rehab.
When we stop moving entirely, the brain doesn't get a chance to adapt. So a specialized physical therapist might guide you through head turning, gazing, or balancing exercises that gradually reduce your symptoms. Think of it like training wheels for your equilibrium.
I'll admit, I used to assume the only way to beat dizziness was to sprawl on the couch until it went away. But apparently, that's not always the recommended course. Movement can help the system recalibrate, like teaching a toddler to walk, except the toddler is your inner ear. Let's just hope it doesn't throw a tantrum in the grocery store aisle.
No promises there. There's also the stress factor. We can't forget how adrenaline and cortisol might amplify that spinning sensation. When you're stressed, your body is already on high alert, so any small imbalance can feel monstrous. Finding daily relaxation routines, yoga, breathing, even a quiet walk, can make a real difference.
And as we've said, keep an eye on your diet. Too much caffeine can rev up your system, while alcohol can dehydrate you and mess with fluid in your ear. So maybe skip that third latte if you're prone to episodes. Of course, for some people, coffee is sacred, so I tread lightly with that advice.
Sacred, yes, but not always beneficial when your body's spinning like a top. If you can't part with coffee, moderation might help. Also, remember to hydrate. Drinking enough water helps keep the fluid in your inner ear balanced. We're basically water-based life forms, after all.
Now, you mentioned earlier that migraines can go hand in hand with vertigo. If you're a migraine sufferer, addressing the triggers, like bright lights, certain foods, or stress, could also reduce those spinning episodes. It's almost like solving multiple riddles at once.
Exactly. For some people, headaches and vertigo are partners in crime. Tackle one, and you often manage the other. Meanwhile, if you have a head injury, like from a fall, vertigo can linger for a while. That's where a thorough evaluation helps you figure out exactly what's going on and how best to handle it.
Let's talk briefly about how we might break the cycle if vertigo keeps coming back. Say someone had it once, but it's returning like an unwelcome house guest. What then?
That's usually a sign of either repeated triggers, like your crystals keep slipping out of place, or an unresolved underlying issue. Regularly doing the maneuvers or the rehab exercises can help keep recurrences at bay. Checking your vitamin D levels might be beneficial too. The gist is that once you know you're prone to it, you maintain a consistent plan, like occasionally performing the Epley maneuver if you feel even a hint of the spins returning.
I like that you mentioned consistency. It's akin to brushing your teeth or doing a daily stretch. Just because you did it once doesn't mean you'll never face the problem again. You keep up the routine.
And if you're feeling that spin creeping in, sometimes just pausing, taking a deep breath, And recalibrating your gaze on a fixed point can help.
That's actually a great trick for everyday dizziness, too. Focus your eyes on a stable object. Our visual sense can sometimes override the confusion from the inner ear. Unless, of course, your stable object is actually a fidgety toddler or a swaying tree, which might just make things worse.
True. Pick something inanimate.
In summary, if you're dealing with vertigo, take heart. You can do these maneuvers, look after your vitamin D, consider Ginkgo biloba, keep your stress level in check, watch your caffeine, avoid the bottle, of alcohol that is, and see if that doesn't help your equilibrium.
Precisely. It's reassuring to know you can regain your balance, literally. If it feels persistent or your symptoms are severe, that's when you get professional help. But for a lot of people, these strategies will reduce the spins. There's hope even for folks who feel like the world has been swirling nonstop.
And with that, I think we've walked this winding path and come out standing upright. Let's consider this a wrap before one of us topples off our chairs. Any final words of wisdom, Alara?
Vertigo doesn't have to run your life. Understand the causes, do a few targeted moves, and tweak your daily habits. Think of it as a puzzle you can solve, not a prison sentence. And if all else fails, remember you're not alone. Millions of people are waltzing around with ear crystals gone rogue.
That's a comforting thought in a strange way. And on that note, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, where our goal is to unspin your world, one podcast at a time.
Until next time, this is Alara, who ironically feels dizzy whenever Ethan attempts to do math in his head.
And I'm Ethan, who can't deny it. Tune in again for more health insights and comedic confessions. We'll see you, assuming the room isn't spinning, on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.